Hi, I'm Toronto Sports Guy, and today we are going to be talking about the FIFA Club World Cup. Both the current version of this tournament, which takes place every year, and the future version of the tournament, which is going to be starting in 2021, which is going to be an expanded quadrennial 24-team tournament. We're going to take a look at why the current edition of this tournament has not succeeded in the way that FIFA would have liked, and if the future new format of the tournament can succeed and become the tournament that I think we all want the Club World Cup to be. Every December since 2005, the 6 winners of each Continental Football Association's championship tournament have qualified to face each other in a yearly competition to decide who is the best team in the world. This competition is the FIFA Club World Cup, and the winners of this tournament are crowned world champions. Now, given that it is the most exclusive football competition in the world, only the best team on each continent can qualify, you'd think that the FIFA Club World Cup would be the most prestigious trophy a club team can win. But in reality, it's a joke. It's seen by most fans in Europe as an unnecessary tournament that adds useless matches to the already overcrowded yearly calendar. In its current form, the Club World Cup has 7 entrants: the 6 winners of each Confederations Champions League and the domestic champion of the host country's league. The format for the tournament is incredibly contrived, with 4 rounds of matches and new teams being added every round up until the semi-finals. In the first round, the host team plays the champions of the Oceania Football Confederation, and then in the second round, or semi-final, the winner of that match plays the winners of the CONCACAF Champions League, while also in that round, the winners of the AFC Champions League and the winners of the CAF Champions League face off. The winners of those 2 matches move on to the semi-final, where they play the winners of the UEFA Champions League and the winners of the Copa Libertadores. And basically, in the end, you have a bracket where some teams can play 4 games and other teams can only play 2. That's right, the format for the tournament that determines which the best footballing club in the world is more confusing than the Canadian Championship. Despite its flaws, the Club World Cup has gained some popularity in popular footballing countries such as Mexico and in South America, because fans of these teams like to show that their teams can play on a level with the big European teams, and they like to see what their teams can do going up against big European opponents. But to the general footballing audience, to the mainstream fan in North America, and to the European fan, the Club World Cup is a joke. European fans do not need a Club World Cup for them to know that the winner of the UEFA Champions League is the best team in the world. The UEFA Champions League is the premier club competition. You can't get any more competitive than that. And to the average fan of European football and European leagues, the Club World Cup just doesn't have that much appeal, because it takes place in December, in the middle of their season. Literally, Liverpool had a game the day before their Club World Cup match in Qatar, and they had to leave their U23 team to play in the EFL Cup because they were taking their main team to the Club World Cup. And well, yes, that is a scheduling issue. It just is hard to get fans excited for a game that should be accumulation of a good season when it takes place smack in the middle of a season. The UEFA Champions League final is the last game that gets played in a given European season, and because of that, it's what the entire season was leading up to, and it's just means so much more because of that. Because the Club World Cup takes place right in the middle of the season, it has to compete for ratings against regular league games, and then European fans have to choose between watching the Club World Cup match between, I don't know, Monterrey and Al Sadd, and watching a game between Manchester United and Man City in the Premier League. And those European League matches are going to be more exciting and more viewed and more hyped up every single time than Club World Cup matches between champions of subpar confederations compared to that of Europe or even South America. So when you combine the fact that their team is the odds-on favorite to win the tournament with the fact that it just is not scheduled very well for the European audience, it makes sense why Europeans wouldn't care about this Club World Cup format. Fortunately, FIFA has realized that this current Club World Cup format is a failure, so starting in 2021, they are changing it to an expanded 2014 quadrennial tournament. It will be a Club World Cup that's played out like any other major summer international tournament, like the Euro Cup, like the World Cup, like the Women's World Cup. It will take place starting in 2021 on a 4-year basis in the June-July international window. The current format with 24 teams would have 8 teams qualify from Europe, 6 teams from South America, 3 from CONCACAF, 3 from Africa, 3 from Asia, 1 from Oceania, and 1 from the host country, with the 1 entrant from Oceania playing the 1 entrant from the host nation for the final spot in the 24-team tournament. The 24 teams will be placed in 8 groups of 3, with the winners of each group moving on to the quarterfinals and then just having an 8-team bracket down to who will eventually be crowned world champion. Now, for the first edition of this tournament, because we've had a 2020, 2019, 2018 Club World Cup, we've had the winners of the past Champions Leagues for all these confederations already have a chance to play in a Club World Cup. So for the 2021 edition of this tournament, it looks like most confederations are going to base their entrance off of the results of the 2020 to 2021 Champions Leagues in their confederation. So, like, for example, in Africa, they're sending the finalists and then the top semi-finalist to the Club World Cup. I believe CONCACAF's doing the same thing. In future editions of this tournament, though, it makes sense that the previous 4 winners of the Champions League in each confederation would have some sort of tournament to decide who wins, or like in Europe, because they have 8 slots, they can send the winners of the previous 4 Europa Leagues and Champions Leagues. Now, this new format should be much, much more exciting than the one we currently have, because there should be no true odds-on favorite. There should be multiple teams that could all win and all make noise and win this tournament. And with so many teams from confederations outside of Europe, there is such a higher chance for upsets and Cinderella runs and underdog stories, which is what any major international tournament should really be all about. However, despite it on paper looking like a much more fun tournament and a good solution to what the Club World Cup should be, this new format has not been welcomed with open arms by everyone, specifically by European clubs. Now, European clubs particularly think that this tournament adds more matches to an already overcrowded match schedule for the average team, and honestly, they have a point, because for teams that qualify for this Club World Cup, it essentially eliminates any break time for them. And because of that, the European Club Association rejected 4 additional spots to this World Cup. And I believe there was talks of making this a 32-team Club World Cup, and Europe said no, because they didn't want to have more teams than necessary sent to this tournament. And once you add in the fact that this tournament would take place June, July of 2021, which is a year where the Africa Cup of Nations and the CONCACAF Gold Cup are played, those 2 tournaments are getting moved back to a early mid-July start right after the Club World Cup. So if you're a player who plays on a team that qualifies for the Club World Cup, especially from Europe, you would have had a full August to May club season into almost instantly starting a Club World Cup run, and then the second that ends, you could be sent off to play internationally in the Gold Cup or Africa Cup of Nations. So for most players, participation in this tournament just limits the amount of time they have to rest in a time where there's already concerns about footballers not having enough off time. And this new tournament doesn't only pose problems for European clubs. There are many teams that don't run their leagues during the traditional August to May FIFA calendar. There are many leagues that run during the summer months, June, July, August, such as the Campeonato Brasileiro, Brazil's top league, or Major League Soccer. So for any teams from these leagues that could qualify for the Club World Cup, it would become a scheduling disaster, as they would have a month of league games essentially having to be rescheduled around this Club World Cup, and I'm not even sure how that would be able to get scheduled at all if you're only having 1 or 2 teams missing a month out of the season when everyone else is playing. It just becomes a logistical nightmare. So while this new Club World Cup format will have quite a few scheduling issues and will likely be a pain to all teams involved. I am still incredibly excited to see it play out because I think that the one thing the FIFA calendar has been lacking is a true worldwide best on best Club World Cup. And I know I'm probably not the only one who has gone on FIFA games, set up a custom tournament, and just included the top teams from every confederation just to see what would happen, and just the ability to have that happen in real life, to see what would happen when the best teams from CONCACAF and the best teams from AFC go up against the best teams from South America or the best teams from Europe. Something that you don't get to see very often in a competitive setting at all, really. It would just be so much fun to watch, and I'm really interested to see how this tournament will turn out because I think it has just so much potential to be one of the funnest tournaments ever. So while the new Club World Cup format may be flawed, I think it's a tournament we deserve and a tournament we need. Thank you for watching, guys. I know this video is a little bit of a different tone than my usual ones. If you liked it, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter just for updates and whatnot. Link is down below in the description. And I will see you next time.